Welcome to the Carbonite Jedi, where we rediscover the wonder of Star Wars and beyond. And today we're going beyond. And this is probably one of the times I would say it feels like a once in a lifetime situation or the stars aligned to where I was able to get this person to come on with me and talk. And I am so excited. It is Catherine Mary Stewart, who was in The Last Starfighter, The Night of the Comet, Night Flyers, plus many Weekend at Bernie's, many more. And real quick, I just want to let people know, if you haven't seen my main page, there are 5 levels that you can join if you want to become a member. And we would love to see you there. So without further ado, let me bring on Catherine Mary Stewart. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm all stoked after seeing that opening. Holy moly.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Is it the same each time? I was going to ask, or do you pick out different scenes, or is it the same kind of?
Right now it's the same scenes. I've had it for probably about 6 months to a year, and I've kind of like thought about changing it up a little bit. So
I'm just curious.
No,
you explore different scenarios each time.
Yeah. In chat we have a Russell. Hey Russell, how's it going?
Hey Russell, thank you.
So I was reading your Wikipedia page, and it says you were born in Canada.
I was. Yeah.
You were. Yay.
Yeah, I was born in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Okay. And I just, as I was reading it, it said after you graduated high school, you moved to England?
Yeah. So from the age of 14 through 18, I was studying dance. And I was in a company in my home in Canada, and we did a lot of traveling around. And I thought I would move to London, England, and just continue my training there. So that brought me there. And I went to this performing arts school called London Studio Center and studied dance there for a couple of years.
Wow, that's a huge jump. I mean, to go across the water like that, away from family and friends. I mean, it was kind of scary at first, right?
Well, yes. I mean, it is scary no matter what, but through my childhood and stuff like that, we did tons of traveling. So It wasn't that foreign to me. And I have a lot of relatives in the UK, and we'd been there several times. I mean, I didn't stay with my relatives when I was there, but I'd been there several times with my family. And so when I initially went there, I lived at the YWCA in Mornington Crescent, near where my parents happened to be there at the time too. My dad was doing some work out of London University. And so that helped to sort of soften the fall. I remember the first dance class I went to in London, my mom walked me to it. I was 18, I was so scared. I was so nervous. She walked me to the class and just made me feel a little more comfortable, I guess, before she left. But it was intimidating because it was a performing arts school. So they did, acting and singing and all kinds of dance and all these other things. But I was focused on the dance, and the first class I remember was a ballet dance. And that was not what my focus was. My focus was jazz dance. So I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh no. And these girls, and there were some boys in there too, they were just so good. So I just was like, anyway.
Do you have trouble getting your foot up on the bar?
Well, no, flexibility was not a problem. It was just, I hadn't done ballet since I was quite young. So I really had to, I mean, I eventually, got back into it and stuff like that, but that was intimidating. It was so intimidating.
That's awesome. I mean, I have a cousin who did dance through the University of Arizona, and she was on the cruise ships doing the fancy dances and stuff. So yeah, she had Lots to talk about. So,
Oh, I bet. I bet. When I was in London, actually, there were these cruise ship people came by the school and were auditioning people to do exactly that. And I auditioned for
oh,
it, which is good because while I was there, I ended up getting into my first movie. So had I been on a cruise ship, I wouldn't ever have been in the first movie that I did.
I had a question about the first movie. Was that you actually singing?
Sadly, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no. In that movie, the main characters in the cast were all professional singers. I mean,
Oh,
they were two of them were in like rock and roll bands, and one of them was she had a variety show that she did where she sang, and then there was me, and I sang, but I just wasn't up to their sort of standards. So I did for a while train with. In fact, when I was doing when I was in school, they had singing lessons and things like that, which I took, and I love singing. I've always just loved singing. But and they set me up with somebody, a trainer, to see if they could bump me up a little bit. But they ended up going with this person called Mary Hyland. They brought her over from LA. She was a studio singer, and she's fantastic. She was fantastic. I mean, I'm so happy they used her and not me.
well, I mean, it looked like you were singing, and
Mhm.
you lip synced it so well. You fooled me.
Oh,
So,
good. I was so excited to do this movie that I was still going to class and everything. And every day when I would come home, I'd read through the script. I knew that script inside out by the time we shot it. And then, practicing with Mary's tracks, um, I knew it. I knew it in so well. So I think that's part of the reason it looks like it's actually maybe me, because I didn't miss a beat.
that's so funny. Yeah, I heard a story about Dolly Parton once when she would get her actress jobs, that she
Yeah.
would learn all of her lines plus all of everybody else's lines. So whenever she would go, she would know exactly what was going on,
Yeah.
and people were like amazed because when people needed a line, she'd tell them their line, and so
I love that.
yeah, so it's funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like, so I'm going to be doing a play in February, Steel Magnolias.
oh
Coincidentally,
yeah,
yeah, she's in that one. But when you're doing a play, unless you're not in the scene, you kind of do know everybody else's lines.
yeah.
So I have to say, I probably haven't learned everybody else's lines the way I did in The Apple, but for a play, it's slightly different. I've been working on that.
Uh, so Russell had a question. He said, "How was it like working with David Hasselhoff in Knight Rider?"
Yeah. That was one of the very first things I did in LA. When I arrived in LA, I did this episode. I think my name was Angel or something. I was this sweet, innocent thing, and witnessed a murder. It was so long ago. I don't really remember all the details, but I did get to ride in the car with David Hasselhoff.
Did you really?
Yes. And growing up, I mean, I grew up with Night Ride. What is it? Night Ride.
Knight
Right?
Rider, yeah.
Yeah, Night Rider, because we were talking about Night Flyers. Night Rider. And thought, ooh, that's so cool, that car, and there's no driver and everything. Or maybe David Hasselhoff wasn't in the car at the time, but I did get to ride in that car. And that was so much fun to sort of see the magic behind that. But also David Hasselhoff was just the nicest guy. He was
That's
so
awesome.
charming. I think I had a boyfriend at the time, and I was like, damn. He was just lovely. He was a lovely, lovely, kind, sweet man, very handsome, all that stuff. That's the thing about when you first get into the business. I mean, I sort of got into the business accidentally. So I when I found myself in these situations with these actors that I knew from television, I was just like, oh, starstruck. I was like a little glorified fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's too funny. Yeah, he seems like a super nice guy. I've never seen anything negative about him or anything like that. So,
Yeah, he was really nice.
so from your first movie in 1980 on to like 82 to 83, you were in the soap operas Days of Our Lives. How did
Mhm.
you get that job? Did you have an agent at the time, or and they said, "Hey, come in for an interview," or did somebody just call you and say, "Hey, we want to see you"?
Yeah. No, when I first got to LA again, I kind of started pounding the pavement looking for an agent. And I got one pretty quickly actually because I'd done, the Apple, and I'd also done another thing called this other Canadian movie called Powderheads, believe it or not. The powder didn't refer to cocaine, which you sort of think it might. It referred to powder snow. Like
Oh,
it
okay.
was kind of a comedy ski movie. And, I was young and all that, and it looks kind of great on a resume if you've been the lead in a movie.
Yeah.
So I got an agent quite quickly and immediately started going out and auditioning for things like several times a day. It was just crazy, but it was really, really fun. I was having the time of my life. And yeah, I just auditioned for Days of Our Lives, and the role was Kayla Brady, the first. So Kayla is still in the show, as
Oh,
far as I know.
really?
Yes, but it's been a couple of different actors, but I was the first. I established her, darn it. So yeah,
That's amazing.
it was my first real job, and I had completely run out of money by that time, and I remember driving up outside the NBC studio where it was shot in the valley and running out of gas in my car as I pulled up to the gate to the studio. I
Oh
guess I was
no.
supposed to drive in and park in there, but I couldn't because I ran out of gas. I think somebody, I don't know how I got my car home. I think obviously somebody helped me. I don't know. I got somebody loaned me some cash, but yeah, so it came at a good time because I needed the money.
That was a blessing, huh?
Yeah, it really was.
Wow. Did I think I saw the movie Death of a Centerfold. It said you tried out for it uh
Oh, yes, the
with
one with Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
yeah, and
I
that was
remember that because I was in there in the audition room when we used to actually go to audition places. Now it's all virtual, but
mhm.
and I really hate virtual auditioning. I mean, it's so much fun going to an office and actually reading with somebody who can actually give you feedback and all that. But that's another subject altogether. But I remember Jamie Lee Curtis being there, and of course I knew who she was. She'd done, what is it, Halloween, I
Yeah,
guess.
Halloween, yeah.
Um, and some other stuff, of course. But she saw me and she said, "You should get this role."
Really?
And interestingly enough, the lead character is originally Canadian, but also I just think she thought that my face was very similar. Um, but what was so cool about that is it really kind of showed you the kind of person she was, because actors can get very, very competitive. I mean, I've
Oh
known
yeah.
actors who, like, even when they see my husband coming along, if they have a script, they hide it, because, oh, I might actually audition, which is something I also don't. I mean, really? You should not, in my opinion, it's like we should celebrate each other
Hmm.
and the jobs that we get, because it's so hard to get a job. If I'm competing against another actor for a specific role and they get it, I would be like, I'd be disappointed, I guess, but I would be angry. I'd be happy for that person.
Yeah.
So anyway, there are those kind of actors, and then there's somebody. Most of them, I believe, are like Jamie Lee Curtis, but she was like so overtly supportive, and I'm just like, "Are you up for this role too?" And Anyway, I that's the only time I've ever seen her or met her or run into her. But I think she has the reputation of being just a really lovely person, and you can tell it's apparent. I have friends who are friends of hers. And she's just the most benevolent human being, and funny and smart and kind and all that stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat. Well, did you get the position of Maggie in The Last Starfighter, and then that's why you left the Days of Our Lives, or had you already left?
Well, it all sort of overlapped, to be sure, but I was finishing out my contract. I was still working on Days of Our Lives, but the contract was coming up, and
Hey, Jason.
I was auditioning for other things, and I got The Last Starfighter.
Oh, nice.
So there was a couple of days there where I was shooting Days of Our Lives, and then most of the stuff we did for Last Starfighter was at night. So I would, go and shoot The Last Starfighter at night. So that was interesting, doing two shows at once. But yeah, I was really, really lucky that they overlapped, and I kind of drifted so easily into the next project for sure. I swear, I don't know if you can hear that, but I feel like there's so much noise in here.
It's okay. I don't. It's not.
Yeah, I'm gonna just turn this off because it's my heater, and it is so loud. It vibrates, and then I'm in New York, so I'm right on the West Side Highway, and it gets so noisy with every half hour or so. An ambulance will go by, or a cop, and sirens wailing. It's funny living in here.
I didn't really hear much bleed through, so it's fine.
That was bugging me. So,
so Knight was saying that you and Lance Guest, who was Alex Rogan in the movie, are pretty good, still really good friends.
Oh yeah, for sure, very good friends. I basically stay at his house when I go to LA. And he's stayed here several times. He has an apartment in his house in the sort of lower level of the house that used to be occupied, but now they're purposefully not having anybody live there. And so I feel like I have a place to go as long as nobody else is staying there. And I've taken advantage of it a few times. But yeah, we're very good friends still. We lost track of each other for probably a decade. And then my husband and I used to live on the Upper West Side of New York. I don't know if you're familiar with Manhattan, but near Central Park. And one day the doorman called up and said, "There's someone here that you know." I'm like, "Oh." And he said, "Yeah, Lance Guest." And I'm like, "Lance Guest?" I knew that he lived in LA, and I was like, "What?" It was so out of context and so out of the blue. And he said, "Yeah, he'd like to come up and say hi." And I'm like, "Oh my God, send him up." So he came up with a stroller with his son that was like 2 years old. And it was short, but this amazing reunion. Like I said, we hadn't seen each other for years. And apparently his wife's some relative, mother's aunt or something like that, lived in our building. And I'd never put the two of them together at all. I didn't even know that Lance was married. And they were visiting, and they lived in our building. And so it was like this crazy reunion. And he was on his way to the airport, I think. So he couldn't stay or anything like that, but it was incredible. And that's how we sort of, got together again, and we have stayed tight since.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, it was incredible. Just who would have thought it?
I know. I mean, when I saw The Last Starfighter in the movies, when it came out, I was a little bit younger, and
So was I.
yeah,
Shockingly.
and it just seemed like y'all flowed so naturally together. It was so believable that y'all were boyfriend girlfriend, and
Mhm.
going through the issues, of post teen, relationships and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that is kind of cool about the movie, is that it's so relatable on
Hmm.
real, um, you know, down to earth, present day ways for kids that age. I think that's part of its longevity, is that when a kid that age watches it, they can so relate to everything that these kids go through, that it gives them something to cling to. And then, of course, the fantasy of saving the universe,
Yeah.
that kind of, you know, checks a box maybe for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I and he and I did get on very well at the time. And it was interesting because when we auditioned for that, everybody, the Brat Pack, everybody was auditioning for it. But the director and producers, they wanted some fresh faces, and he and I hadn't done so much work that everybody knew who we were. And I think that worked for it as well,
Yeah.
because you see, I don't know, Rob Lowe playing the role, it'd be like, oh, it's Rob Lowe trying to be a
Mm.
teenager or whatever. um, I think that helped enormously, just bringing in unknown people that an audience could sort of relate to on a more down to earth way, realistic way.
Well, and I have to say it, but George Lucas brought in, unknowns for Star Wars, basically,
Mhm.
and it kind of clicked a little bit
You,
too.
you think, so what's Star Wars? Huh? Yeah.
uh,
But what I do like about this one also is that although it does have, well, of course, all the space fighting and all that junk, but it takes place, it could be today,
hmm.
it just could be today. So there's that other little element of relatability.
Yeah, any little trailer park down the road.
Yeah.
I have Val, and she said that Night of the Comet is a horror staple, or is a horror fan staple and a must watch.
Thank
And
you. Yeah.
I
I think
agree.
it's sort of horror adjacent. There's a lot of comedy in Night of the Comet as well. I feel like Night of the Comet crosses a lot of genres, from valley to zombie to apocalyptic world stuff to yeah, the comedy part. And um, that to me also uh, is, it was whenever you do these movies, you don't sort of have a preconceived idea of, oh, what might be around 40 or 50 years later. You just you do lots of great jobs. And so it gives you that kind of the space to look back in retrospect and think about why. And one of the reasons I think Last Starfighter, I think it's so relatable to kids, and it's not so huge that although it's exciting and there's heroes and all this other stuff, it touches your heart somehow. And I
Yes.
feel like in Night of the Comet, I think also that just that the two females are protagonists was kind of unique, which I
Very
never
unique.
thought about. I never even thought about at the time. I was like, this is fantastic, because I
I
loved
know.
doing the physical. I loved all the stuff, but it also, I think those characters are relatable in a cartoony kind of way. But um, there's so many other little juicy bits in there that are different, maybe from other unique to other movies, that make it so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, you just saying that about the protagonist, the two girls being in Night of the Comet. I didn't even think about that, but that was very unique back in the 80s. I mean, it was always the male lead, it seemed like. And so
And that carries over even today. I mean, there are Well, I mean, there are obviously movies where there's female protagonists, but what I also liked about it was that they were unassuming. They were just a couple of goofy valley girls. Yet
Yeah.
they could like take care of themselves, without, wearing the armor, or being the superhero, or being super extra tough somehow. They were just a couple of kids that happened to be girls, and looking around going, well, the one thing they had, the one asset they had was that their father was a Green Beret, so they'd been trained to shoot, Mac 10s, as it turns out. Um, yeah, I mean, it was a fun thing. I see Jason. Hi, Jason. They
Yeah.
say my favorite scene in Night of the Comet was the mall scenes. And yeah, those were so much fun. We the dragon, I hate shooting at night because it's just shooting at night. You go to work at like 5 and you come home at 5, and your body does not like, my body does not like that. And but those were really fun. They literally shot down a department store, which had done other movies there too, so they were kind of used to it. And we just had a gas shooting up mannequins, and dropping stuff everywhere, and trying on all these different clothes and dancing and all that stuff and improvising. It was so much fun. And I had so much fun on that movie. And Kelly Maroney, who plays Sam, my sister, we're still really good friends too.
Are you really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. My buddy who passed away, he forced me to watch Chopping Mall, and she's in that movie. And,
Forced.
and yeah,
What did you
just
think of Chopping Mall?
I thought it was a fun watch. I thought
Yeah.
it was a fun watch, and I just you see these movies, and you always wonder, oh, did so and so try out for that, and who tried out for that, and did you ever try out for Chopping Mall?
I did not.
Oh, you did.
Chopping Mall, I did not try out for that. No.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's pretty quirky.
Yeah, very quirky.
But fun stuff, and very 80s. I mean, there are movies that you can just sort of watch and identify the decade that they were made in.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
Yes. I had a quick question. It's kind of a bittersweet question, and it has to do with The Last Starfighter. Robert Preston was in the movie, and that was his last movie he ever did. Did you get much time to chat or get to know him or anything? And what was he like if you did?
Well, interestingly enough, we were never in a scene together. So our paths did not cross on the set. But we did some pickup shots after the end, the end of the movie. We went to, they were doing some stuff at the studio, at Lorimar Studios. And when I showed up, I was there for the afternoon or something like that. Alex had to shoot that, what was it called? The something blossom explode. What is the?
Oh yeah, Death Blossom.
Death Blossom.
Yeah.
He was shooting that. Lance was shooting that thing with the special effects. Poor Lance. It was so funny. He was sitting in this cage that spun all over the place. He was like, "Oh my God, get me out of here!" But apparently, well, Robert Preston was there for something. I don't know what he was shooting, but he was leaving as I was arriving, and so I was introduced to him. And I mean, he just had this sort of gold aura about him. He just seemed so kind and sweet. And when he was introduced, he took my hand and he kissed it. And I was like,
Oh my gosh.
It was really super sweet.
You met the
Lance
music man.
I know. And that role was written for him.
Oh, was it? I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Yes. In The Last Starfighter. Somehow Nick Castle's father was involved with musical theater or something like that. But anyway, they wanted Robert Preston for this character. And when he accepted it, I mean, we were so lucky to have him involved. But yeah, Lance has lots of great stories because, of course, they worked a lot together.
Yeah.
But Lance, he talks about him being a very young, enthusiastic actor, just wanting to get everything exactly right. And he would ask Robert Preston if he would rehearse with them. And apparently, it could be kind of a pain in the ass to be asked to rehearse constantly with this young whippersnapper kid, but he was apparently very, very generous and really kind and great to work with. And of course,
so awesome.
The consummate professional. So but I was really grateful to have met him. I feel so lucky.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's sad, but then it's kind of bittersweet that he's, this is his last movie that you were on, and you weren't like together, but you were on the movie with him and you got to meet him. So
yeah, no, I'm so grateful for that. And it really does, like a little special nugget that he's in it for sure.
Yeah. Val has a quick question.
All right, Val.
She says, just wondering what your thoughts are on the current horror movies of today.
It's funny because I am not a massive horror fan because they scare me.
Me too.
I mean, if I go to a horror movie, I go with my husband sometimes. He likes them because he thinks they're funny. And I go and I'm the one in the audience that's screaming. There's always somebody who's like, that's me. If I go to a horror movie. The last horror movie I saw was Midsummer, which it just, I mean, you didn't see it. It is the most horrifying movie. I mean, it just got me to the quick, man. I still get this pit in my stomach when I think about it. And then, gosh, I finally went to this movie I've done many, many, many of them. Final Destination. I can't believe I remembered it. Oh. Have you ever seen a Final Destination movie?
I saw the very, very first one, and I had my arm twisted behind my back when I saw it. So
yeah. Well, I hadn't seen the first one. I hadn't seen any of them, and there was one that was released last year, and I think I had an idea of what it was all about. So when I went, I maybe was prepared, but I actually kind of thought it was funny too. I don't know. I was like, I can't believe I'm turning into my husband, but it kind of made me laugh because, they're all better, everybody's fine, and then they get wiped out. It's like, of course they do. I mean, I kind of found that entertaining on some bizarro level,
That's
whole, what do they call it? Keeps one thing happens after another, after another.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called, I forget.
Well, did you want to tell Val what you're directing or you're helping direct?
Oh, right. I'm my friend Bob Heckman. He did a short based on the Friday the 13th series called Victim No More. And it was just a short film, and I was in it, and we've been friends for quite a while, and kind of met on the convention circuit. But he's like a super fan for all these 80s horror movies. And this one is called, we haven't finished it yet. We started it in April, and we were supposed to finish in November. Excuse me. But a bunch of stuff happened that made it impossible. So we're going to finish it in April. It's a movie that took a year to shoot, but it's called Loose Ends. And I think, I'm not sure if he's still on Indiegogo, but it's a series of 4 separate stories in 4 different timelines, kind of exploring like before Friday the 13th and after Friday the 13th and what happened in between these 2 Friday the 13th. And it also introduces some some elements of Halloween and other like little unicorns from different 80s horror movies. But I mean, I think it's pretty good. One of the reasons it's taking so long to shoot is because, we're shooting it out on Long Island with a bunch of local actors that actually work for a living. So we have to work around everybody's schedule. But it's been a learning experience on so many levels for me, such as everything about Friday the 13th, and then other, of those kind of Hollywood movies, but also just, shooting this kind of genre and special effects, like I was talking about earlier. But it's incredible the talent that there is available that you can access to get something like this done. It's all mostly Bobby's friends, people he's worked with before. Excuse me. I have a little frog in my throat. And they're all these big Uber fans of this kind of genre. So it's really, really been fun. A lot of work, but really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, you'll make everybody happy because almost all of them come from Knight's channel, who are huge, huge horror fans.
Yeah.
So, Scott from my buddy Scott, he wanted to know what was the hardest scene to shoot in the last Starfighter?
My stuff was pretty easy overall. I can tell you one of the most fun scenes to shoot in the last Starfighter. The stuff was pretty easy for me. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't really like shooting at night, and most of the stuff I did was at night. But the most fun sort of sequence was at the lake when I discovered the beta unit. And I'm sort of mad at him because he's saying all these, he's listening to, what was his name in the show? Peter is his real name, but he was saying all this stuff and he overhears all these things that you're supposed to say to your girlfriend. You're my Juliet, I'm your Romeo, or whatever he's saying. And anyway, all those other girls didn't mean anything to me. And I get mad at him. And he finally admits, I'm a beta unit. I'm not Alex. And I'm like, what? And then the alien shoots him, and he has that little squirt of fluorescent green comes out of him, and he goes, see, perfectly deadpan. And I'm like horrified. And then there's that whole sequence where we run to the truck, and I'm riding in the truck, and he's explaining what he's doing there, and that he's got to go and destroy this space pod. And then I leap out of the car, and he explodes in the background, and I look up into the sky, and the wind is blowing. I love it. It has it all. It has it all. I love you, Alex Rogan.
Yeah.
So I love that sequence. So
an epic moment is, I think it was on the trailer too. So
yeah. I love you, Alex Rogan. Yeah, that was super fun. I mean, we had, it was such a lovely set to work on as well, because, and this will sound cliche, but it really was this little movie that was really like a labor of love. It really was. And everybody there, from the director, Nick, to the producer, to everybody, was just trying to make this sweet little movie. And Nick also, as a director, is just such a benevolent. He was really great with young actors. He was very calm. Just had a really lovely flow and flavor to it. It was nice. Maybe the hardest one, by the way, but this wasn't because it was a hard scene, was when the big spaceship lands in the trailer park.
Oh yeah.
Coming up the thing, and it's blowing and everything. And Nick is like, there was nothing there, that was all put in later with CGI. And but he had this giant fan, and we were in like the middle of California is a desert basically, and it's just all loose loose dirt. And this giant fan is blowing dirt in my face. It's like, oh man, wow. Goggles, please. But again, that was super fun. I mean, it was just all fun. It was great. It was a really great experience.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I think you answered this, but before we talked, but Scott, yeah, backstage. But Scott was wondering, did you ever get to drive the Knight Rider car?
I never got to drive it, but I got to ride in it. Or at least, from what I recall, I rode in it. But the most important part is I was sort of privy to the magic of the Knight Rider car, because there was never a driver. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe he drove it every once in a while, but it drove itself also. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Secret.
Did it actually drive itself, or was it just a little midget underneath there driving the car?
No, it was, I guess I can give away the secret. I don't know.
Oh, you don't have to tell us if you don't want to.
No. I mean, it was basically the seat was built for somebody that somebody could sit in it.
Oh.
And the headrest part had just like a black mesh thing that he could see out of. So there was somebody actually sitting there.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, it's hard to tell,
Yeah, especially when you're like back away from the car. So
yeah, well, even sitting in there, you couldn't tell until it was somebody actually told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Huh. That's wild.
I don't know how they steered exactly. I forget those kind of details. They must have somehow. I don't know. I just remember there was somebody they could fit into the seat, which had a headrest, a high headrest, and see out that way.
That's crazy. I've seen those pranks where people look like a chair when they pull into the drive-through, like at McDonald's or something, and they scare the people, But I didn't know that's how they did on Knight Rider. Wow.
Maybe that's where those people get that from. I don't know.
Probably. Oh, on when it shows that you did Night of the Comet in 1984 and The Last Starfighter in 1984, did any of those shoots overlap, or were they separate?
They were separate. 84 was the year that they were released. So we actually shot them both in 83. And gotcha. I think The Last Starfighter was, earlier on in the year, maybe late spring, early summer, something like that. And Night of the Comet was around Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So Val wants to know, what's your favorite genre of movie to act in?
Oh no, it's the really super fun thing about acting is that if you're lucky, you get to do every kind of genre. And I think I've been pretty lucky that way. Mm-hmm. They're all just so much fun. No, I don't think I have a favorite one.
Okay. All right. Well, I was reading and it said that, I guess in the 90s, you kind of step back a little bit to take care of your children. Mm-hmm. And now you're going back in, and it looks like, you're doing movies, but now it's more TV series that you're doing as an actress. And do you prefer TV over movies, or are movies over TV?
I think in general, I prefer movies because there's more time to sort of spend on it and really get into it, and it feels more personal in a way. Television, when you do an episode of a TV show, I don't know what the last one I did was, maybe Law and Order. You're in there for a few days and then you're out, and you're just a complete stranger to everybody. You come in and you do your thing and then you leave. With a movie, it becomes much more of a family or a group efforts, and
Hmm.
you have more time to kind of get into your own character. So I think probably overall I prefer movies, but I enjoy both. I've done several smaller independent movies, which it has been fun. It's also fun to be a part of, like, somebody's kind of dream that they finally figured out how to make this movie, which is
Yeah.
no easy task, let me tell you. It's very, very difficult to get a movie made. I mean, not as hard as it used to be, because you used to have to go through a studio or something like that. And now anybody really can make a movie, but there is so much involved. And just doing this movie with my friend, I knew that there was a lot involved. Throughout my career, whenever I worked, I was always spending almost as much time back behind the camera as I was in front, because I just have always been very interested in how it works and how you make a movie and whatnot. But boy, I'm telling you, when you sort of start with a blank slate, and as you go, you kind of learn as you go all the things that you need to prepare. You need, from the simplest things like a call sheet to the wardrobe and what kind of makeup and special effects are hard, and location scouting, all this stuff, making sure you have all the right equipment, the right lighting, the right sound equipment, the right crew, the right everything. Food, all that stuff is like things that as an actor you kind of take for granted. But when you are making the movie yourself, you have to have everything figured out. Each shot set up. How many setups do you want to do for a specific scene? It's endless. It's endless. So I forget what the question was, but that's my answer.
That's funny. So you're going to be doing. You said you're going to be going and doing theater too.
Yeah, I'm in February. I'm doing Steel Magnolias
Oh, nice.
in Kentucky.
Wow.
I know. So I'm really excited about that. That's a whole other thing altogether. You were talking about Dolly Parton and how she, when she works in movies and everything, she just knows everybody else's
Hmm.
lines and everything inside out. Well, in a play, you kind of have to do that, because you're plowing through an entire 2-hour story in one sitting. There's no breaks except maybe for, the intermission or something. But yeah, it's a challenge. And I've been, studying the script, it's so well written. I mean, many people saw the movie, which was also shot in the 80s, but the play is I actually think I like the play a little bit better,
Hmm.
because they don't have to compensate for it being on screen. It all takes place in a beauty salon. That's the only location. In the movie, they're all over the place. And it's really a story about these women who this is sort of their safe haven, this place. They can be open and honest, and just the tightest of friends, and the trust and everything that's involved with this, and everything that they go through in this story is incredible. My character is Malin, who, if you remember the movie, it was Sally Field's character who plays the
Oh.
mother of Julia Roberts, who
Hmm.
tragically she has diabetes in it, and in the end she tragically passes away. But her mother, the character, goes through so many, from the beginning of the play to the end, so many levels of emotion, and it's it's so well written. I mean, it really is. It's like sometimes you'll get a script and you read it and you just can't say the words the way they're written down. They just don't come out of your mouth properly somehow.
Hmm.
And oftentimes they'll be flexible to let you, change it up a little bit to make it more comfortable for you. But this dialogue is So good. It's just so good.
How long will the show run?
Well, it's a really short run, actually. It'll be only about a week, but we have like 3
Oh.
weeks prep, which is nice. I'm flying down there February 1st, but it's a very short run. I think the theater that that'll be playing at has done some musical theater before, and they do, musical acts and things like that. So this is sort of a straight play is new for them. I think they're kind of testing the waters, but this play is so beloved, especially in the South, of course, because it takes place in Louisiana, that I think it should do just fine.
That's awesome. Well, if I'm in Kentucky during that time, I'll come by and see it.
You should. You should.
Russell has a question about Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
Did you did a voiceover on that?
I did. That was an experience, man. I'd never done anything like that before. So I actually auditioned for this. I don't know. It was the weirdest audition. They had you sort of talk a little bit, I guess, some dialogue, but they wanted mostly to see how you moved, because in these kind of games, the actors, they put on like a bodysuit.
Oh yeah.
That's it. You can't hide a thing. And then these dots all over you. And then you have this helmet. It's so bizarre. and you go into this big, huge, empty space, and there's cameras everywhere, catching each angle, and somehow these dots, I don't know what. I really have no idea what I was doing. I had a character called Moira. That was my character. And I did this little scene with one of the main cowboy characters. And I don't play these games, so this is just what I'm guessing, is that depending on which way you go in the game, I guess you can choose where your characters go or do or whatever. You might run into Moira and have a little conversation with her.
Yeah.
But it was so funny doing this thing, because also she's supposed to come out of one of those cowboy bars, with the swinging doors.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, I don't know, just a very basic frame of a thing. And there was no actual construction at all. You just had to imagine everything. And also what was sort of interesting is like when you're standing still, you have to keep moving. You have to just keep moving a little bit for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh.
Technically, so there was nothing natural about it whatsoever. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever done. But I mean, it's one of the most, when people see that on my resume or on IMDb, you can see everything that I've done on IMDb. They think it's the greatest thing in the world. And I'm just like, okay. The other weird thing about that was when we were shooting it, they shoot it over a period of months and months and months. It's very complicated, I guess. But the first one was really, really popular. So they wanted to keep the second one a secret until it's released. And we were at the studio somewhere, Queens or somewhere, I don't even remember where. And you were not allowed to even step outside, because they were afraid somebody might have a drone or something that would see something that might give them some indication of what was going on. Big secret, couldn't talk about it. It was really crazy. It was really wild.
Signing the NDA, right?
Oh yeah, well, big time. I guess they make a lot of money on those things.
So, Weekend at Bernie's.
Mm-hmm.
You had an agent by that time. You probably felt pretty secure in your acting. Mm-hmm. Did your agent call you, or how did you get that position or that job?
Yeah, I went. I think it was my manager who actually called me at that time. I at one point had a manager and an agent, but I went and met with Ted Kotcheff, the director, and Jonathan Silverman. and in an office, and we just read a few scenes together. I mean, I think by that time they were pretty familiar with my work. There was, you know, by the time I moved to New York, I wasn't really auditioning anymore. I was just
Mhm.
working, and I was being offered jobs and stuff like that. And they just wanted to make sure that we had some sort of a chemistry, I guess. And I went and I read with Jonathan, and it was just the three of us, like I said. But when I left there, thought I'd screwed up. I was like, oh my God. I really was excited about this one because it was a comedy, which I hadn't really done before. And it was Ted Kotcheff and, Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy. And I was like, this is great. But I thought that leaving there, I called my manager and I was like, I've screwed it up. I know I have. Please call them and ask if I can come back and try again. I don't know why I thought that. I think it was because the scene that we were doing or whatever, I forgot my line or something like that. I don't know. But lo and behold, I got cast.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the rest is history, right?
The rest is history. Yeah, that was super fun too.
So they had a Weekend at Bernie's too, right?
They did.
Did they ask you to come back, or?
They did not.
That's lame.
I agree. Although looking at it, I'm okay with it. But they went off to the Caribbean, and they hired some young Caribbean woman. I probably was too old by that time or something.
No way. No way.
They just went in a different direction. It's fine. I didn't even know they were doing it. I didn't find out about Weekend at Bernie's 2 until well after it was released. So, but I think that the first one is the one that most people like, gravitate to.
Yep, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, thank you. Although the dancing apparently in Weekend at Bernie's 2 is kind of popular.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, the joke, whatever. I'm not even sure if I've seen the whole thing. So
yeah. I have a question of what do you find most fulfilling or exciting in the process of making a movie as either an actress, a director, or whatever?
Oh man.
I had to do the hard one.
Yeah. It's kind of, yeah. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, obviously. I think, sometimes you'll shoot a scene and it just feels so right. Like as an actor, you feel like you did exactly what it was you wanted to do, and it just felt really good. And that's something that's not even really tangible. It's all, you work really hard on your character and you try to come up with some consistency and some motivation and all that other stuff. And, you hope that it's going to come across the way you want it to come across. But sometimes you just feel like you nailed it. And that happens when you're making the movie as well, as a director or something. Sometimes a scene will be done and you just feel really great. But it's also fascinating to see how it all comes together in post-production after you've edited it and put in all the music and the sound effects and all that other stuff. That's also really super exciting. And oftentimes it'll turn out in a way that you don't expect, like as an actor, for instance, there are movies I've done. I did this movie called Mischief, which was a really lovely movie. I did it after Night of the Comet, and it's set in the 50s. It's kind of got lost in the fold of 20th Century Fox changing hands and all this stuff. But originally it was called Heart and Soul. And it was the story of this young, sort of goofy kid in the 50s in high school that kind of ends up hanging out with the bad boy kind of guy who's new in town and is trying to, date and trying to get to know the girls. And I play a girl that ends up with a bad boy that is like, I'm sort of the beauty queen in the school, and I end up defying my boyfriend, who's just kind of a jerk anyway, and hanging out with the bad boy who's misunderstood. Anyway, it's a really, really sweet movie set in the 50s. And in post-production, 20th Century Fox, who shot the movie, were changing hands. And they decided they wanted to make it from this sort of romantic comedy to something more like Porky's. Porky's had made a ton of money around that time. And they thought, that's the way to go with this. So they tried to make it into kind of a sex romp. And it really wasn't. And so they changed the name from Heart and Soul to Mischief. And then the poster kind of indicates some goings on in a car, and the way it came out in the end was not sort of the way it was written, kind of thing, or what you expect when you read the script. But in other cases, like in The Last Starfighter, and oftentimes also when I see myself in a movie, it's like, it's hard to watch yourself. But in Last Starfighter, I kind of really got into the story, and I really sort of sat there and enjoyed it, the screening, which is unusual, So that's sort of fun, just seeing how, after all those months of pre-production and the shoot and then post-production, what the end product is going to be.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can see that. I mean, a lot of people say, it's not the ending, it's a journey, which I can understand. But being able to finally see it in its glory is probably amazing too.
Yeah. Because you never can predict exactly what it's going to turn out like, especially if you're an actor in it. You don't know what the big picture or the big vision is going to be exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Scott had a question. Who is the director, living or past, that you wish you could have worked with?
Oh, that's a good question. Ooh. Maybe Alfred Hitchcock?
Oh, yeah.
That might have been really, really interesting. Although I hear he was kind of a nightmare, but
Oh, was he?
I don't know. I think he was tough, but God, he was so creative. He was so brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. Very much so. So Alfred Hitchcock, huh?
Why not?
Any specific movie of his?
I loved Rear Window. One of the first movies I saw when I was a little kid that might be considered a horror movie, I guess it was at the time, was The Birds.
Oh, yeah.
I remember it had been released a couple of years earlier, but I was a kid, just young, and I had a sleepover at a girlfriend's place, and there's a bunch of us, and we watched The Birds on TV. And I was just like, why are we watching this? It scared me so much. And you look at it now and it's like,
yeah.
I mean, but yeah, the special effects are pretty basic, but yeah, that had some impact on me, I have to say.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, I want to respect your time, and you've been on for an hour, and I really appreciate you coming. So I have one last question. It has to do with I have three daughters that are in elementary, and they love like doing little mock plays, and and a couple of them said they want to be actresses when they get older. And I know how cutthroat the industry is for women, especially. What advice would you give them, since you've been in it since like the early 80s? What advice would you give my daughters?
Yeah. That's so great that they are interested in that kind of thing. I would just suggest, first of all, I don't know how old they are. Did you say
11 and 9?
Yeah. I mean, I would if they don't offer like a class like that at their school, I would absolutely get involved with like community theater or something like that. It's really, really important to sort of surround yourself with like-minded people. And the more things you get involved with that are like that, the more doors open. You just learn more and more, and you meet new people that then sort of guide you in different directions towards other people and whatnot. I used to do that too. My friends and I used to put on little plays and things like that back in the day. If there's so much access to, uh, I guess, exposing things that you've done online nowadays. Like, I don't know if they're interested in making movies, their own little movies with their phones or whatever. You could probably help them out with something like that if they had a story that they just wanted to pretend and do.
Yeah.
You could, it doesn't have to be like an hour. It could be a 5-minute little thing, it just has to sort of have a beginning, middle, and end. And that's always super fun. And just, do that. But I would say, I don't know, just, where do you live?
In Colorado.
In Colorado. I mean, sometimes you can find places that advertise open calls for commercials or something like that, or just, I don't know, just kind of delving into it a little bit more and just trying bits and pieces, especially at this age. But most importantly, get involved with like the theater or something like that and see if it's something that they really do want to do and build on. And, if in school, like I said, if they offer that kind of class, do it. In high school, they definitely do. It's like build these building blocks, but surround yourself with people that are like-minded and might be able to help. Or, if somebody is making a movie, say, well, can my kid be in the background or something like that? And then they really get a sense of how it all happens and what it's all about. And if they want to do that, because that is a great way of testing the waters.
Well, that's fantastic advice. I really appreciate that. Well, Catherine Mary Stewart, I really appreciate you coming today and talking with us about your awesome career and your further endeavors. And was there anything else you might want to say to everybody out there before we go?
Just like I said, you can see whatever it is I've done on imdb.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I do Twitter, I do, all the things. I'm thinking of maybe trying to figure out a way of doing a podcast myself, as a matter of fact.
Nice.
That's original. Everybody does a podcast, but I have this great idea of doing something like that. Well, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Just, I don't know, there's so much you can do in this business and so many avenues you can take, especially today. And I just keep plugging away at stuff. I have scripts that I'm writing, and I really get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of doing something like this. So thank you for inviting me to do it.
Oh, it's like I said, a once in a lifetime, situation where I get to meet one of my heroes from the 80s, so it's been a dream come true.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate that. And again, I apologize for the misstep last week. I don't know what the heck. Same thing happened to me yesterday. I was going to an appointment at 11 downtown, and just to make sure I had the suite number right, I was looking on my thing, and it was like uptown at 11:30, and had nothing to do. One had nothing to do with the other. I think I'm just getting old. I was like, what the heck?
So. No, it's fine. Like I said, it was a blessing in disguise, because I was sick. Yeah. So
there was a lot of that going on, I think, this year. My kids did too.
Well, I really appreciate it. Well, everybody in chat, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. And we will be seeing you soon. And Catherine, I'll see you backstage.
Okay, perfect.
Bye-bye, everybody.